Riding the tiger.
I was leaning against the wall of the house when the tiger came.
Hi, Danny, he said. It scared me that he knew my name, but I was pleased too. A bit bored, he asked. A bit lonely, I nodded. The tiger cocked his head. That's the way it is when you're new in town. But we'll fix that. Why don't you hop on my back and we'll take a ride? I stared at him. He purred and rubbed his head against my shoulder. Just a short ride. My back's wide and comfortable. You've got nothing else to do, have you?
Well, I'll have to tell my mom where I'm going, he grinned. If you do, she won't let you. I grinned back at him. You're right about that, okay? He crouched so I could get on. My feet hung way off the ground, even though my legs are really long, which is why my mom calls me Danny Longlegs. Too bad you're wearing my colors, the tiger said next time. Sure, I said, not even knowing what colors he meant. I held on to the thick, coarse fur on the tiger's neck. Each golden hair glistened. His black bands came together perfectly like the stripes on his soccer jersey. He smelled something dark and exciting.
Ready? He asked. Ready. How old are you, Danny? 10, I said. The man I had thought older. Up there, high on his back, I did feel really big. I wanted to pound my chest and shout, "Look at me, everyone! I'm riding a tiger!"
An old man was reading his morning paper on the bench front of Muto's grocery. When he saw us, he went inside fast. "Stay away from here," he yelled. The tiger turned to look at me. That Muto is nothing but a wimp. His voice was the strangest mixture of every accent I've ever heard. A police car came cruising down the street. It slowed down when the officers saw us.
"Hey, kid," one of the officers called. "You're new in town, aren't you? You don't want to start off by riding that tiger. That's nothing but trouble." "We're just taking a little walk is all," the tiger said, quite politely, "to see if we like each other." The officer looked closely at me. "Once you get on that tiger's back, it's hard to get off. But if you get off fast enough, it's still possible."
"He doesn't want to get off," the tiger said. "Right, Danny?" I nodded. "Right." But the officer and Mr. Muto had to make me a bit edgy. Still, I didn't want to get off for a while. I didn't want the tiger to think I was a wimp too. The officer shrugged and the car rolled on. The shops on Center Street were open for business. People moved off the sidewalks so the tiger and I could pass. "This is neat," I whispered. And the tiger said, "Yeah, I always get respect, and whoever is with me gets respect too."
Several kids said hi to the tiger and looked envious at me. One girl touched his striped side, and I felt him bristle. "Can I go with you?" a girl asked. "Not now," the tiger said. "Maybe later. Do you think the way I think?" "Yes." "Do you want what I want?" The girl nodded. "Because anyone who isn't for us is against us," the tiger said. "I'm for you," the girl said, and the tiger lifted his paw and laid it on her shoulder. "Come on over then. You know where I'm at." The tiger squinted back at me and walked as we walked. "Questions that have to be asked," he said. "Pretty soon, I'll be asking you."
We were passing a playground. A bunch of guys about my age were shooting baskets. They didn't even look up as we passed. The tiger's lope turned to a swagger, which made it hard to stay on his back. "Hey, pal," someone called. "You on the tiger? Want to get off the beast and come play some ball?" The guy was older than the others. He could have been 18. His bare chest was brown and smooth as a nut.
"Hey, Ferdy," the tiger said. "He works at giving kids options." The tiger said, "Options?" as if it was the dumbest word that ever was. "Were options the same as choices?" "I thought so." "I thought so," he said. "There's a lot of stuff that more fun than riding a tiger." The tiger shook his head. I leaned low across his neck to tell the truth. "I do like basketball. Maybe I'll get off here. Thanks for the ride." "Maybe I don't want you to get off," said the tiger. "Maybe I want to get to know you better." My stomach gave a disgusting lurch. You didn't tell me I couldn't get off whenever I like, I said. I don't tell everything, he said. See those walls? I looked at the tiger and saw that almost all the store fronts were covered with black tiger paw prints and the words that I couldn't understand. That the prints on McDonald's billboard covering the slogan, they were written across the corner stop signs.
That means we're in tiger territory, the tiger said. Mine be honored you're with me, but it wasn't honored anymore. I had to get off, here. Where Ferdy was still watching and might help me. I brought my left leg up so I could slip down the tiger's side. Don't even think about it, the tiger said, and when he turned, I saw the yellow glitter of his eye. I eased my leg back to where it had been before. He was walking faster now, and the ground seemed farther away. Had he grown bigger? Had he grown smaller? His paws made no sound. We flowed along in absolutely silence.
Now the streets were jammed with traffic. Sometimes the tiger held up a paw so that we could pass. One van driver didn't get out of the way fast enough. Move it, the tiger snarled, and I heard the screech of something sharp digging into the metal saw where he'd ranked the red paint off. The van with his open claws. Oh man, I thought the driver was going to tear us apart. But he just rolled up the window and turned his head away. His shoulders were hunched up and around his ears.
Now, that's respect, the tiger said, but I knew right when it wasn't respect. It was something very different. A Metro line bus was moving slowly in front of us. What if I jumped for the step? But what if the driver wouldn't open the door? What if he turned his head away, like the guy in the van?
I didn't know where we were now, padding through dark alleys, past run-down warehouses and loading docks. A dog moshed away from us, his tail down. A scattering of big crows crawled angrily and flopped up onto the broken wall.
There was a bum rooting through a garage can. When he saw us, he began edging backward, but he edged too far. Stepping behind him there was only empty space. I saw him fall. I heard the thud as he landed, heard the quiet. The tiger turned to grin at me and walked on. Wait, I jerked on his neck fur. The man's hurt. He needs help. I swung both legs down and hung. Still clinging to the tiger's back. Stay where you are, the tiger said. What if I didn't? What could he do to me? I heard him breathing dark and deadly, and I heard a small whimper that could have been a cat but wasn't. It came from the man who'd fallen too scared to make a noise and too much pain to keep quiet. I hung halfway off the tiger, and I knew I had an option, which was the same as a choice. I glanced down. The ground was so far below me. Once you get off the tiger's back, it's hard to get off. Once you get on the tiger's back, it's hard to get off. But if you get off fast...
I dropped. The concrete hit me like a pile driver. I fell over, stood again, dazed. Every bit of me hurt. The tiger was in the shadow of one of the old buildings, a black giant of a creature. His tail moved gently. I was trembling all over. You've had your chance. You'll never be one of us now, the tiger said. Don't come whining and begging to me when you need help. You're all alone now, kid. I licked my lips. Maybe then I was limping backwards, waiting for the tiger to pounce, ready to run, jump, climb. But this was a tiger. How could I outpace him? I risked turning back to him, glancing down. The man lay at the bottom of the crumbled steps, along empty bottles and candy wrappers. When he saw me, he shielded himself with his arms.
It's okay, I said. I'm not with him. And when I looked back, there were only 3 crows strutting again in the alley and the dog noising a cardboard box the tiger had gone.
The end.